Today's question is, what is better, kettlebells or dumbbells? So it's hard to say what is actually better. You need some context. Better for what situation? First, let's start comparing the dumbbells with kettlebells. So the dumbbell, obviously, it has the weight on both sides of your hand in two big sections. And then your kettlebell has the weight in just one big section. So what that does is, for a dumbbell, that means the weight will tend to shift, or it'll kind of pull left and right and become a little bit uneasy. It's harder to hold. Where a kettlebell, having the weight right in the center, when you grab it, all that weight's right in the middle of your hand, and so it's easier to hold on for a longer period of time without your hands, especially like the outside of your hands, either your index finger or your pinky finger, getting tired. So that's just one difference, and that's why I like kettlebells a little bit better to hold for a long period of time, is because I can hold them longer without my hands fatiguing as much. Now, another difference is when you take the weight from, say, below your waist, if you're holding them down here, if you want to bring them up to your shoulder level or higher, that's also going to change how you hold it. So the dumbbell, it's kind of easy, it's right there, it's centered, and it's right in all the weight's in your hand, and you can press it up above your head, and the weight is nice and distributed, nice and smooth and even. Now a kettlebell, if you want to press it up above your head, that weight is now going to have to shift and sit on the back of your wrist. For some people, that can be a little bit uncomfortable, and it takes some getting used to build up a little resistance to feeling that pressure on the back of your wrist so much. A lot of people will compensate and let their wrists bend backwards so that it doesn't do that, but that's not good technique, it's not good form. So we keep that wrist straight, but that weight's on the back of your forearm, a little bit uncomfortable, so there's a difference there. Now the reason why I think kettlebells can be much more beneficial than dumbbells is two reasons. One, if you're going to be holding them for a long period of time, say you're going to be doing a lot of movements where you're transitioning, you want to hold the weight here and do some lunges or squats, or if you want to do something where you are moving from the ground to half kneeling to standing, where you're changing your levels, it's a lot easier to hold a kettlebell than it is to hold a dumbbell. That kettlebell can rest on the back of your wrist like I talked about before, but it also can rest on your shoulder in the crook of your arm, so you can support that weight for a longer period of time without getting fatigued in the shoulders as much. With a dumbbell, you have to keep that weight propped off your shoulder, otherwise it's too uncomfortable and you will get tired a lot faster. So it's easier to hold a kettlebell like this if you're transitioning, going up and down, left and right, and doing a lot of movement for a longer period of time. Another benefit, you can come on in, Kathy. Another benefit of kettlebells is what they call ballistics, or faster movement patterns. Think of like a kettlebell swing. Think of a kettlebell clean or a snatch. So those are movements where the kettlebell is moving very quickly and rapidly and very explosively. The weight of the kettlebell, with the weight being centered on your hand, will move and shift, and you can swing it around a lot more fluidly than you can with the dumbbell. The dumbbell's harder to hold, it's harder to keep track of when you're being explosive, and it'll tend to kind of shift on you, and it just makes it a little more uncomfortable. So if I had to say one is better than the other, I would say dumbbells are better for doing typical gym exercises where maybe you're pressing, or maybe you're putting the weight on the ground and using it to support yourself. It's more stable. But a kettlebell is going to be better for longer periods of time, for holding up in your shoulders or holding above your head. It's going to be better for holding down at your sides, and it makes it easier to transition from different positions on the ground, on kneeling, and standing. And so that way, if you want to get into more of a quality movement, into more of a flow, then kettlebells is definitely the way to go there. So hopefully that answers your questions. We'll see you next time.